Hello, this is Ashy. Today I have with me Dez.
Hello, hello.
Last week we got into a little bit of the class theory and mentioned some classes. This week we're just going to talk about some of our favorite things. I'm going to start with a couple of races that I favor, being Tiefling. I really like Tieflings. They come in like 11 different flavors, each with their own unique little abilities and stat distributions. And I just think that's really cool. It makes them very flexible. They have a lot of cool little racial feats and traits, and I just think they're really neat. I'm also a big fan of kobolds. Kobolds are trash. I don't recommend playing them. But I just love the derpy little lizard people. Their stat distribution is terrible, which is the biggest reason why I say they're trash. But they do have a few cool, very specific archetypes. They've got a couple of specific weapons, and a few cool little feats. And if I was going to mention a third race, I might have to go with human, just because human is such an inherently flexible race. As much as I like half-elves, half-orcs, elves, orcs, and the list goes on of races, I might just say human. How about you, Des?
Well, for me, to be honest, my favorite race is actually Tiefling as well. I've always loved them since I started playing many years ago, and just loved them because they were edgy little demon girls. To now, it's just great stat distribution and just ways to make them so damn adorable, never mind the edginess of it. My second one is probably gonna peg me a little bit. My weebiness will show. I just love the Kitsune. Kitsune is a pretty good race. They're not much else to say other than yes, I am a huge weeb. And third has only recently joined the spot at third because of my current character being played in your campaign. Actually, it's got to be Elf now. Like, the elf that I'm currently playing saved my love of the game, and therefore, like, elves will now hold a special place. And I'm glad Wah is not here to tease me about it.
He would. He would give you shit. This is where he would give you shit about
absolutely.
it.
Absolutely. He called me an elf enjoyer, and I always denied it, but here's the admission. For everyone to see.
Yeah, you're not beating those elf allegations anytime soon.
Nope.
Alright. So let's talk about some classes, then. My favorite class is Blood Rager. I like Ragey Boys, and Ragey Boys plus Magic. I think they're very cool. They speak to that, like, edgy kid deep inside. And they also have a bunch of bloodlines, all of which are pretty cool. Well, there are probably a few stinkers in there, but I have to actually find them. Aside from that, it's basic. It's basic as hell. I like fighters. Okay, I like fighters. Here's my admission. I like humans and I like fighters.
Oh no.
Go for it. You know what you must do. As a third, I have a soft spot for sorcerers. I think sorcerers are really actually kind of cool. Like, the idea of magic from your bloodline, it goes back to the Blood Rager thing a little bit. I think it's cool. And, yeah, those are my top 3 picks. How about you, Des?
For me, it's, my first one is Magus. I've always loved the whole spell sword thing. My favorite Final Fantasy class was always Red Mage. Just the idea of being good with a sword and good with with spells, but not necessarily being the best at all of it. It just really kind of speaks to me. I love it. My second class is Rogue. Many people like to misinterpret and say, oh, the thief. No, rogues can be far more than just a thief. It just depends on your imagination. And my last one is Pathfinder exclusive, the Arcanist. I really love that class. Again, it's Amala's class, the elf that made me love the game, but even if it wasn't for her, I'd still love this class. It has a little bit of everything that the wizard and sorcerer can do, while not completely stepping on their toes. The others can do things that the arcanist cannot, but then that's where you kind of fill in your niches with either a good archetype or by just picking dimensional slide and making yourself impossible to pin down.
Dimensional Slide's so stupid.
It's
Arcanist
amazing.
OP, by the way.
Oh man.
Also, Magus is a fun pick.
Oh, it is. I love it.
I still think that spell combat doesn't get the love it deserves.
Absolutely not. It's like as soon as people get spell strike, they seem to forget that spell combat is even a thing.
And I think I've even seen like it mentioned as it's kind of just inferior, kind of just falls off. I don't agree with that sentiment. I think it can stand on its own 2 feet.
I mean,
I think it's
yes.
worth a 1 level dip even.
If you're gonna take the typical Magus like meta build where you're gonna grab the magical lineage and go for intensified shocking grasp, then yes, 9 times out of 10 your best move is probably put lightning in your sword and smack the enemy. But there's something to be said about dropping that haste at the beginning of the turn and then swinging. Or swinging and then lobbing a fireball to help your wizard across the room because you can't be over there right now. Or even just attacking and then repositioning at the end of your turn. Because you can use the spell after the swings. It's your offhand move. It doesn't have to be your first swing.
Yeah, ye old bladed dash. Yeet.
Bladed dash, or even if you're not using bladed dash, just like dimension door, any kind of reposition works. Bladed dash just kind of good though.
Yeah, I wish I had more to say about rogues. I think rogues are pretty cool as well. But there's not
rogues
much
are
to say.
No, they're. I mean, the rogue really comes down to its build. Like looking at Bauble in our current game with his double whip Indiana Jones build is just hilarious.
It's pretty funny.
I mean, and bringing up the fact of the whips, that's actually probably my favorite weapon. Even though, unless you are specifically building into it, it is complete trash. And Bauble shows exactly why I love whips.
Oh, yeah.
They can be used for such dumb things.
It's unfortunate the weapon can't stand on its own merits by itself, but if you build into it, it's suddenly a silly, silly weapon.
The fact that it required so much feat support to be usable is sad, yes. But I am glad that Pathfinder at least went out of their way to give it said feat support in order for it to be able to shine. Because it could have easily just been that garbage thing that nobody takes unless they get it for free.
Absolutely. And I think Whip is actually, like, a weapon that's worth building into. If you're going to use it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it actually pays its dividends. Unlike some
I've had a whip
cover.
Yes. I've had a whip War Priest and a whip Magus that have both done pretty good with their whips.
Yeah. Makes sense. That makes sense to me entirely. 15-foot reach to just Shocking Grasp or insert spell of choice here from a long distance. Or in the War Priest case.
Getting that War Priest scaling.
That War Priest scaling.
Yes. When your whip is suddenly doing like a D10 from 15 feet away.
Yeah. When you're almost a ranged weapon. I think my favorite weapon might be the Scythe. The 2d4 damage dice is a thing. It's a little bit lower than your Greatsword and some of the other contemporaries in the two-handed category. But that X4 critical multiplier just makes my monkey brain go, ah! Anytime I drop that crit. It feels so good.
Oh, it does.
I like big numbers. And it's also, like, as a weapon, it also has a lot of support. And I look forward to covering both the whip and the scythe in the future, just to explain out their support and all the pleasant things that they can do. But, I think that's about it for us for today. Do you got any closing thoughts to add here?
My closing thought is a very simple one. Just because your favorite class might be Bard does not mean you have to be stuck as the horny Bard. Don't fall for those stereotypes.
Oh yeah, be Dad Bod Bard. Superior
Yes.
Bard every time. Yeah. I guess if I was going to add on that, just because your class or your race or the combination of the two isn't very optimal, don't be afraid to play it. You can probably get away with it. There's probably some way to do it.
Talk to your GM. They're usually a lot nicer than you think.
Unless they're not. In which case, you might need to find a different GM. But, in any case, if you like what we do, please leave a like, and consider subscribing for more. Goodbye.
Later.